The rain had stopped, but the pavement still glistened under the streetlights like a mirror reflecting every broken thought she carried. "I shouldn't have called you," Ariba whispered, her voice trembling as she stood outside the cafe where they used to meet years ago. "I know I'm the last person you'd want to see." Hamza looked at her carefully. Time had added sharper edges to his jaw and quiet patience to his eyes, but the way he watched her was still the same, steady, protective, almost painfully gentle. "You're not," he said softly. "You never were." She let out a shaky laugh that sounded nothing like laughter. "He left me for her," she said, staring down at her hands as if the confession itself weighed too much. "After 5 years, just like that." Hamza didn't interrupt. "She's younger, softer, easier, I guess." Ariba swallowed, and when he told me he didn't even look sorry. The silence between them felt like a fragile bridge. One wrong word and it would collapse. "I keep thinking," she continued, her voice lowering to a fragile murmur, "maybe if I had been prettier, calmer, less demanding, maybe he would have stayed." Hamza's expression tightened. "Don't do that to yourself." She blinked back tears and finally met his eyes. "Will you hold me?" she whispered, barely audible, "so he regrets it." The words hung in the air, not seductive, not playful. They were raw, cracked open by heartbreak. It wasn't about love. It wasn't even about him. It was about revenge stitched together with loneliness. Hamza took a slow breath. He stepped closer, but instead of pulling her into the kind of embrace she was silently begging for, he gently cupped her face. "If I hold you," he said quietly, "it won't be to make him regret anything." Her lips trembled. "Then why?" "It'll be because you deserve to be held, not displayed." The tears fell freely then. He wrapped his arms around her, steady and warm, and she pressed her forehead against his chest. For the first time in weeks, her breathing slowed, not because someone chose her over someone else, but because someone chose her without comparison. And that felt different. In the days that followed, Ariba kept expecting the comfort to fade. She kept waiting for Hamza to remind her of the years ago when she had chosen someone else over him. But he never did. Instead, he showed up. He brought her chai when she forgot to eat. He sat beside her on the balcony when the evenings felt too long. He listened when she spiraled into questions about what she lacked. "Do you think he ever loved me?" she asked one night, staring at the city lights. "Yes," Hamza said honestly. She turned surprised. "But not the way you needed," he added. "And that doesn't mean you were too much. It means he was not enough." Ariba hugged her knees to her chest. "I wanted him to fight for me." "And he didn't." "No." Hamza leaned back in his chair. "You don't need to make him regret leaving. You need to stop regretting being yourself." She studied him carefully. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "After everything." He smiled faintly. "Because loving someone doesn't expire just because they make a mistake." Her heart clenched. "Don't," she said quickly. "Don't love me out of pity." He shook his head. "I don't pity you, I admire you. You stayed loyal, you fought, you gave everything. That's not weakness." The wind carried the faint scent of rain again. "I don't want to be someone's lesson," she whispered. "You're not," he replied. "You're someone's future." The next time she reached for him, it wasn't to be seen. It wasn't to be envied. It wasn't for revenge. It was because she wanted to feel safe. And this time when he held her, she didn't imagine her ex watching. She imagined healing. Weeks turned into months, and slowly, Ariba began to recognize herself again. She laughed without forcing it. She wore colors he once said were too loud. She stopped checking her ex's social media. She stopped measuring her worth in comparison to another woman's existence. One evening, as they walked through the same street where she had once broken down, she stopped. "Do you ever think," she began carefully, "that if he hadn't left, I wouldn't have found this?" Hamza looked at her, his hands still intertwined with hers. "Maybe pain clears space," he said thoughtfully, "space for something better." She smiled. "I meant what I said that night," she admitted, "when I asked you to hold me so he would regret it. I know. I was so angry. I wanted him to see me happy with someone else and feel what I felt. And now," she squeezed his hand, "now I don't care what he feels." There was peace in that confession. Hamza stopped walking and gently brushed a strand of hair away from her face. "Then we're doing this right." She searched his eyes for any trace of hesitation, any leftover resentment from the past. She found none. "I'm not choosing you because he left," she said firmly. "I'm choosing you because you stayed." His breath caught slightly at that. This time when he pulled her close, it wasn't fragile. It wasn't about filling a void or proving a point. It was steady, intentional, real. And somewhere, in a different part of the city, a man who once thought she would always be there probably didn't even know what he had lost. But it didn't matter anymore. Because the woman who once whispered, "Will you hold me so he regrets it?" had finally learned something far more powerful. The right arms don't make others jealous. They make you feel home,